Chapter 1. You know that little voice, that mean-spirited, self-deprecating voice that can break your heart and stop you dead in your tracks. That little whisper in your head that sometimes proclaims, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I just don't have what it takes. The voice I'm talking about is the one that's threatened you and at times even succeeded in holding you back, defining you, stopping you from sharing your light, emanating your greatness, and living the life you've dreamt of. This is the voice and expression of our not good enough self. Many of us know this voice all too well, but even if you aren't consciously aware of the way that it may be wreaking havoc in your life, you too may discover that you're being negatively impacted by this self-sabotaging, dream-killing part of you every day. It's the part of you that sometimes declares, why bother? I'm going to fail anyway. I'll never succeed. Who do I think I am anyway? I can't launch a successful business, write a book, leave this job that I hate, find a partner that truly loves me, or create a life that's fulfilling. I myself came to a point many years ago where I was extremely exhausted by this part of me squelching my voice, casting a negative light on just about everything I wanted to do, and making me feel bad about who I was. I remember sitting in my car one afternoon, one of those gorgeous, sunny Southern California days, while this dark part of me cast out on my first manuscript. As I held it tightly in my hand, ready to send it off to one of my dear friends who was previously in the book publishing business, this judgmental, critical part of me started an internal war. All the work I'd done, all the time I spent years and years of writing, editing, and sharing my heart and soul came down to an hour of internal chaos. All that hard work was reduced to 60 heart-wrenching minutes that would either commence in moving forward with this initial baby step toward having my first book published, or result in my dream being pushed into the back seat by the fear that was overtaking me in that moment. All I wanted was his advice and his feedback. But the fear of judgment was so debilitating and paralyzing that instead of getting out of the car, I just sat there staring at the manuscript in my lap. Why are you just sitting here, Diane? Get out of the car and go mail him the book. I can't, my not good enough self said. He's going to hate it. He's read the best books out there, and this isn't one of them. Oh boy, I thought, here we go. What do you have to lose, said the part of me that believed in me. And without hesitation, my negative self arrived on the scene for yet another gut punch. Everything. My self-respect, our precious friendship, my belief in myself and what I have to say. Forget it. It's simply not good enough. Suffice it to say, the dialogue between these two parts of me went on and on, minute after minute in that blazing sun, as I sat there for an hour, wrestling with my thoughts, myself, and my future. Fortunately, I can say that I got out of that car and I sent him the book. My first book, Clarity, the very book that I'm talking about, went on to be a best-selling book, a #1 new release on Amazon, and was featured on 7 TV shows, 30 radio shows, and helped thousands of people heal, reclaim their light, create success in their lives, forgive past hurts, and heal difficult relationships. Can you imagine what I and others would have missed out on if I let my not good enough self win that day? And yet, unfortunately, many of us can say that our not good enough self has won arguments just like this one more often than the good enough you've got this self has throughout our lives. Maybe you too have experienced this internal tug-of-war and are sick and tired of it after 20, 30, 40, or even 50 years of this foul-mouthed, obnoxious, dream-killing voice and self-sabotaging, diminishing part of you, robbing you of the life you truly want to live. If this is the case, you are in the right place, as I will tell you that I am a master of, a true expert of the not good enough self. I've spent a lifetime working to make peace with this part of me, while truth be told, sometimes failing miserably, as I'll share throughout this book, and other times celebrating triumphantly as it quietly relaxed back into the shadows. Throughout this remarkable journey, one of my greatest accomplishments has been helping others reclaim their light. During hours upon hours of coaching others, I have witnessed the debilitating ways this not good enough limiting self can keep the greatest, most unique human beings from fulfilling their purpose and creating what they desire in their lives. Sometimes it's mind-boggling to witness all the light people possess and how quickly they jump to diminish it and discount it. So what is this journey of embracing your more than enough, you've got this, go for it self all about? Feeling finally enough is the experience of no longer searching for somebody or something to fix that which was never broken. Embracing that you're everything you could ever desire and so much more. Reclaiming your light and owning the unique gift that you are. And most importantly, sharing that very uniqueness with the world. Today, at the age of 52, although it took many decades, I can now say that I finally feel more than enough to follow my heart's desire and to fulfill my life's purpose. More than enough to no longer allow the part of me that sometimes doesn't feel good enough to hold me back or determine my destiny. More than enough to be who I am wholeheartedly. So how did I get here? To this place of freedom, not searching, not seeking, not fixing, not sabotaging, not selling my soul to feel good enough for a fleeting moment in time. That's a long story, but one I feel worth telling. In sharing how I got here, I hope you are inspired to find your way too, should you be seeking this wholeness and peace at this point in your journey. Feeling finally enough means you no longer have to diminish your worth, fight for affection or attention, let self-doubt squelch your truth, sell your soul for love, attention, or validation, sacrifice your well-being. Say yes to everything and everyone. Bury your dreams or give up on yourself. Sounds amazing, doesn't it? Let's dive right in by identifying and connecting with what your not good enough self says to you every day. By getting to know this part of you intimately, you will be able to stop it before it takes over or sabotages your dreams. The mean, critical voice. We all know that the way we treat ourselves as well as how we talk to ourselves determines everything. Yet many of us would declare that we simply can't get that negative internal dialogue to stop the mean, judgmental ranting and raving. Let's take a look at what's going on by identifying which one of these sounds more like the voice you hear in your head. The kind, loving voice. I believe in you. All is well. Don't worry. You're doing amazing. Keep on. I'm here. Everything's going to be okay. You've got this. Your best is more than good enough. Or the mean, critical voice. Are you kidding me? Why'd you say that? Stop doing that. Get it together. Why can't you be stronger? You'll never follow through. You just don't have what it takes. Not only does the way we talk to ourselves determine how we feel, but it can also negatively impact our ability to accomplish what we want in our lives. If you tend to hear the mean, critical voice more often than the kind, loving voice, know that you're not alone. Many of us have this negative internal dialogue running through our minds. It's truly part of the human condition. Nonetheless, it's important to stop and recognize how truly toxic and detrimental this mean, critical voice is to your self-esteem and your ability to create what you desire in your life. It's also just as essential to remind yourself that every day is a brand new opportunity to practice being more kind and loving to yourself than you were the day before. And since everything we experience in our lives is a direct result of what's happening within us, taking the time to be nicer, kinder, and more gentle with yourself is a more powerful and transformational shift than anything else could ever be. Let's look at how you can begin this process of taking better care of the precious being you are with the exercise that follows. The Precious Child Within exercise. For this exercise, I suggest that you envision yourself as a small child. It's often easier to be kind to ourselves when we picture how detrimental it can be to be mean, harsh, or critical to a young child versus our adult self. We may even trick ourselves into thinking that as an adult, we're strong enough to handle the self-abuse. Or we may not even be conscious of how it's truly affecting us. Envisioning yourself as a small child is a powerful way to realize the impact that your mean, critical inner voice is having on your self-esteem and your ability to create what you desire, and instead make the powerful shift to talk to yourself in a more kind, loving, encouraging way. So let's begin. Take a slow, deep breath, close your eyes, and think of yourself as a precious, innocent 5-year-old child. Imagine what you looked like. Did you have pigtails, long curly hair, or was your hair spiked on top of your head? What do you envision yourself wearing as a 5-year-old? Grabbing a picture of yourself at this age can be extremely helpful and is a great way to reconnect to yourself and this vulnerable, impressionable child within you. Take a deep breath and affirm that today and every day for the next 14 days, your work is to care for this precious, sweet child with kind, loving thoughts, words, and actions. As you see this child sitting down in front of you, begin this process by writing down a list of what you're going to say to this little girl or little boy over the next 2 weeks. Write down positive thoughts and phrases that will fill you up, lift you up, and encourage you. You may want to use the internal dialogue in the kind, loving voice as a starting point or a guide. Then simply put this list in your phone and 3 times a day, look at these positive, kind, loving thoughts and begin to say them to yourself as you picture this young, precious, sweet child within you receiving this love, validation, and encouragement. Most importantly, every time you hear the mean, critical voice try to take over, simply pause, look at yourself in the mirror, and see yourself as this precious, innocent 5-year-old. As you imagine her or him crying or hanging their head because of the mean, hateful thoughts, recommit to being kind, loving, and gentle. Make a commitment to do this every day by putting it in your calendar right now. This simple exercise can shift how you feel about yourself and, in turn, what you're able to create and experience in your life. As you become aware of how your not good enough self has been limiting you and begin using the tools I will share throughout this book, you will start to see a shift in the way you treat yourself and what you're able to experience in your life as a result. In the next chapter, we will dive into how our not good enough self is born. The more intimately connected you become to the reason your not good enough self doesn't feel worthy enough, good enough, smart enough, talented enough, or whatever not enough you continually judge yourself for, the easier it will be to have compassion for yourself and to begin to shift how you're talking to yourself, which voice you're listening to, and the way you're treating yourself every day. This can truly be a game changer. Thank you for listening to this excerpt of my new book, More Than Enough.